And first of all, does anybody have any questions so far with anything that we're doing so far in the chapter 1 and chapter 2? Because I'm going to go over chapter 2 and chapter 3. I'm going to go over some stuff this morning or today and get to y'all's. And y'all are 110. And check contents. Chapter 2. E-text. What's e-text? I just pull up the e-text so I can look at the table of contents. Okay, graph of basic functions, relationships and symmetry, vertical and horizontal shifts, stretching and shrinking. I'll go over that a little bit. Let me go back here and find a certain area, odd and even, and I'll go over that with you right quick. Increasing and decreasing, we've talked about that. Here's increasing and decreasing. We've talked about that. Y'all should know that. About f of x, the family of graphs. That starts the family of graphs. That's x squared. Symmetry. There we go. Write that down right quick. Symmetry with respect to the y-axis. If f of negative x is equal to f of x. Write that down right quick. And there's another one behind it. And that is symmetry around the origin. I should have two of them together. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. There's the other one. And I'll write them on the board here in just a second, so if you don't get them, I'll write them. And I'll just snip them out. That'll be the easiest thing to do. There's that one. And snip the other one out. Yep. Now put it up the handy dandy whiteboard. Aren't y'all glad I received training on this stuff? There's the first one. And the second one. Let me tell you, it's hard to do this when you never used it before and you ain't received any training. It's kind of hard to get this stuff to come up. There. All right, those are the two rules that you're going to be using with odd or with even or odd functions is basically what you call them. Respect to the x-axis and y-axis. If I give you y is equal to, or f of x is equal to x squared, and I tell you, tell me the origin of that, or tell me the symmetry of that function? Well, you can look at it now that you know the family of graphs, and you know it's symmetric around the what? It's symmetric around the y-axis. Now, if you want to check it algebraically, this is the way you do it. You check these two tests. All right? F of negative x is equal to f of x. In other words, what does negative x, f of negative x mean? That means that you're going to plug in a negative x. And if it equals to the original function, f of x, then it's symmetric around the y-axis. So what is negative x quantity squared? X squared. And these two equals? Yes. So it is symmetric around the y-axis. If it's not symmetric around the y-axis, then you check the second test. And it would be, this is a example of symmetric around the y-axis, which is all your x to the what function? All your even function. This one is symmetric around the what? Around the origin. And that's a lot of your x to the what? Odd function. So let's check that. Let's do f of x is equal to x cubed. All right, let's check this one. So we go over here, and we change this to a cube, and it's going to be equal to x cubed. And is that a true statement? What is negative x to the cube? Negative x cubed. Are these two equal? No, they are not equal. So therefore, it is not symmetric around the y-axis. So therefore, you move to test 2. And test 2 says what? F of negative x is equal to negative f of x. So f of negative x means that wherever there's an x, I'm going to plug in a negative x. And that's equal to negative f of x, which is x cubed. Put a negative out front. So what's negative x raised to the third power? And what's a negative in front of x cubed? So are these two equal? Yeah, so therefore it is symmetric around the origin, which you can see. But of course, now you know that because you know the family of what? Graphs. How about the absolute value function? Is it symmetric around the y-axis? Yes. You know that now because you know the family of graphs. That's why I kind of skip over a lot of stuff in chapter 2 and 3, because all of it comes together at the end of chapter 3. You know it. So, okay, so that's one of the things that I skipped as far as algebraically telling if something is is it around the y-axis or is it around the origin? Why is it around the x-axis? Well, that would be a hyperbola, and we haven't got to those yet. Okay? Question on that one? You might have a question on the test that asks if something is symmetric around the x-axis or y-axis. If you know the function by the family of graphs, then you just answer it. If you need to do it algebraically, then do it algebraically. It's up to you how you want to do it. Okay? All right, next thing that we need to go over. You find there's 2.1. Nope. There it is. Let me kind of go down a little bit. We talked about the origin, the square root function. You know what that looks like. You know what the cube root. Now, I didn't cover the cube root, but you can draw that if you want to. Go ahead and draw the cube root. Add it to your what? family of graphs. So turn to your family of graph page. I just usually don't cover this. Go to your family page. It has the 8 graphs on it, and maybe draw it on the back. Cubic function. I'm not really going to, cube root function. I'm not really going to talk about it that much or test you on it, but just add it to the back and call it the cube root function. And it looks like the inverse of the what? The cubic function, Hubert. That's right, class. Instead of the S going vertically, it's what? It's going horizontally, and then it's just inverted, kind of. Okay. Absolute value function. We already know that. We've already talked about the absolute value function, absolute value, absolute vodka. Now there's a hyperbola. How do we know it's a hyperbola? Okay, well, I'm going to show you. The best way to tell is find the inverse function. All right? This function is the square root of x. Y is equal to the square root of x. Let me just show it to you this way. To find the inverse function, let's take, for example, f of x is equal to, what did I say? The square root of x. Okay? The first thing you do is get rid of the f of x, because you need y and x. You need to go back to algebra 1 and algebra 2, put your pinky down, and just do it the written way. Y is equal to the square root of x. Everybody with me? Then you need to switch the x and the y. So we'll put an x over here. X is equal to the square root of what? Y. And then solve for y. So how do you get rid of this? Square both sides. So y is equal to what? X squared. And that is the inverse of that. So, we know that, and I'll do this in red, f of x is equal to square root of x. And it looks like this. Y is equal to x squared. Now let's see what it looks like. Instead of finding y, we're going to be finding what? Okay, so what do we do? I'm sorry, I messed up. We plug in x. I'm sorry. I'm thinking something else. Let me start over. There, we plug in x, and we get -2, -1, 0, -1, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. What's -2 squared? 4. What's -1 squared? 1, 0, 1, 4. And you get your parabola. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 4, 2, 4. So the inverse of the red is the blue, and if you could take the square root of the negative, what would it look like? The red is what we call a hyperbola. So we write that down, hyperbola. Hyperbola. And the blue is what we call a what? You should know that. Yes, because we've already covered it. And that's how you find the inverse function. Okay, the first thing you do is, let me do this and put out. First thing you do is get x and y. In other words, get rid of the f of x, get rid of the fancy stuff, and just put y in there instead of x. Then switch x and y. Just switch them. Don't switch the sign or switch the, just put this one right here and put this one over here, and then solve for what? Solve for y. That's how you find the inverse function. Okay? Question on that? So, if I gave you f of x is equal to x cubed, then you could find the inverse function of x cubed, right? Which would be the cube root of x. You might see a question like that. Most of your questions on this test are going to have to do vertical and horizontal shifts, or completing square, or symmetry and squishing. I'll get to compression or stretching. I'll get to this compression and stretching. We've already covered it, but we'll get to that in just a second. You may have one or two questions about inverse algebraically, which is this, or you may have one or two questions on is the function odd or even, which is symmetric around the y-axis or symmetric around the origin. But 80% of your test is going to come from completing the square, vertical and horizontal shifts, and things like that. Capiche? Yeah, Hubert, we understand. Thank you, class. Appreciate the interaction. Makes class go by a whole lot faster. There's your even and odd function. Write that down. Even when it is around the y-axis, odd when it's around the what? Origin. Just remember O and O. Odd, origin. O and O. That's on page 95. Miss Simmons already got mad and left. Don't leave. I didn't mean to make you mad, Miss Simmons. You gonna quit?
Yep.
Good.
Down here.
Good. Drop slip. All right, that's 2.1. 2.2. Look at there, vertical and horizontal shifts. What is this? Absolute what? Value. And this is a vertical shift of 2 down. This is a vertical shift of what? See? You know what you're doing. Same thing with square root. Same thing with the cubic function. This would be horizontal shift of 4 to the right, which would be -4. This would be a horizontal shift of 2 to the left, which is what? +2. See the whole thing. And that's your homework. sure this is all homework. Next is going to be the compression and the stretching. Yep. All right, now when you're talking about this, a lot of people call it different things. All right, and there's some homework problems in there that are a pain in the rear to do. I really don't like them, but I put them in there just to piss you off. No, I put them in there to try to get you to understand what the compression is. Now, when you're talking about compression, and you got to think of 2 or 3 things. One, think about a balloon, and think about rubber bands. All right? If I give you a balloon, and that balloon is sitting right there, and I bring a vise in, and I push on that rubber balloon, and it's inflated with air or water, whichever, and I put a force on that balloon, what's going to happen? It's going to what? It's going to elongate like this, isn't it? Isn't it? It's going to look like that. Now, what is that thing doing? It's compressing along the y-axis. Everybody get that? What's it doing along the x-axis? It's stretching. Think of a rubber band pulling like this. Or take the sides of the balloon and think about it like that. So if you're compressing along the y-axis, what are you doing on the x-axis? You're stretching on the x-axis. All right, those two go hand in hand. You can say that you're stretching along the x-axis or you're compressing along the y-axis. Same thing here. Rubber balloon. And I have a vise here and a vise here. Now my force is going horizontal. What's going to happen to the balloon? It's going to compress what? Along with what? The x-axis. It's going to compress along the x-axis. And what's it going to do on the y-axis? All right, now, if you've got that in your head, then you need to get it in your head and write it down somehow. Okay? You need to remember what's happening here, because you're going to have some homework questions and you're going to have some test questions that are going to ask you these 2 things. Remember, wherever the vise is, that's where you're going to compress. So where is the vise over there? It's on the y-axis, so you're going to compress along the y-axis. Where's the vise here? On the x-axis, so you're going to compress along the x-axis. Whatever you compress along, the opposite is going to be stretched. Remember that. You got to think of the rubber band, or don't think of the rubber band. Think of a balloon, and you're doing this. What's it doing this way? You're stretching this way. You're compressing this way. If you compress this way, you're what? Stretching this way. And that's what you got to remember. And the reason I'm going on about this is because you're going to see some questions on the test and in the homework, and they're going to confuse you unless you remember the balloon and the vise. Okay? That's what they mean by vertical stretching. Take the highlighter. This is a vertical stretch right there. That's what's happening to the balloon. This is a horizontal what? Stretch. Take your green highlighter. And if you have a horizontal stretch, then that means you've got a vertical what? Compression. If you have a horizontal, if you've got a vertical compression, what does that mean? You've got I'm sorry. If you've got a horizontal compression, then you've got a vertical what? Okay, you've got a vertical. It's always the opposite. Okay? So you've got to think about that. And you'll see the questions when we get to it. All right, what next? I'm just going to go through and see what else I skipped. And really, I didn't skip over that. I just went into it and didn't call it vertical stretching. That's 2.3. 2.4. What does 2.4 say? We already talked about absolute value. Absolute vodka. What it looks like. Absolute value. Does it look like a curve or does it look like a V? It looks like a V. And there's some examples of it. There's an example of it. There's an example of it. There's an example of it. And that's all we're going to do on that. And then the next couple of sections, I don't know what the next section is. I don't go into solving absolute values. We don't do that. That's 2.4. See what 2.5 is. No, I don't cover that. I don't test you on it either. I think that's it, isn't it? Okay, we already covered composition of functions, operations and compositions of functions. Here's an example right here. Let's see if you can do that example right there. It says f of x is equal to 8x minus 9 and g of x is equal to 2x minus 1. Do those four functions, a, b, c, and d. Do it. I'll blow it up because all blind people sit in the back of the room. That's just in general, not this class, but just in general. The ones who can't see, they sit in the back of the room. There. Just do A, B, C, and D. You may remember me going over this and reminding you that you did all this in pre-algebra. Remember me telling you that? And now you hold your pinky up and do it. Same stuff. Alright, so f of x is equal to 8x minus 9. G of x is equal to the square root of 2x minus 1. F plus g of x, a, 8x minus 9 plus, parentheses, plus 2x minus 1 square root. That's it. That's all you can do. B, 8x minus 9 parentheses minus square root of 2x minus 1. C. 8x minus 9 times square root of 2x minus 1. And D, 8x minus 9 divided by the square root of 2x minus 1. That's it. That's a test question. Do you need to overthink it? No, just do it. Now, it does ask you for the domain. Well, the only thing you got to watch out for is you can't take the square root of a what? A negative. So you have to set the radicand 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. And that'll give you what? Positive 1 would be 1/2. So anything below 1/2, let's see, 0, yeah. Anything below 1/2 will give you a negative, so you have to use 1/2 and above. So on A, B, C, and D, x has got to be greater than 1/2. That would be it. Okay? So that's what you're talking about with composition of functions. The reason I'm giving you that example is to help you remember that we covered this in class, and it was just, add, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. The same things you did back in, remember Fogg and Goff? Go back to that section of notes and go over Fogg and Goff. F composed of G, G composed of F. That's substitution. Plugging one into the other. We covered that. Okay? And don't worry, you'll remember when you go over the homework and when we go over the test, you'll remember.
That was example 2. Example 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird. I don't see why we're going to try what the purpose of that is.
You don't have to. Just, whereas, if possible, using, they want you to know F plus G, okay? That's a good question. This is a good question to go over. All right? What they're doing is this, you don't see, what do you not see on this function, on this question? What do you not see? What's not given? On the previous problem, they told you what f of x was and g of x was, didn't they? This one they don't. They just give you a curve. So everything is answered with the graph, pretty much. All right? This says that x is equal to what? It's equal to 4, right? When you see 4 in those two parentheses, that means you got to plug in what? 4. So you go to your handy dandy pre-algebra, and 4 here and 4 here. So x is equal to 4, right? So let's look. X is equal to 4, y is equal to what? I guess, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. So this point right here, x is equal to 2. That point right there is 2 comma what? 1. 2 comma 1, I'm sorry, 4 comma 1. Can't write. 4 comma 1, that's g of x. Yeah, you're right, 2. Thank you. Okay? And then, what's this one up here? 4 comma what? 9. Now what does this say? F plus what? Huh? Okay. And what's 9 plus 2? So the answer is 11. And that should be what they get down there. But we'll look.
Yeah.
Is that what they got? All right, now you do f minus g of negative 2. You do that one. I'd start with the pre-algebra chart. Put a negative 2 and a negative 2. Because you've been doing this since pre-algebra. They just tried to figure out a way to confuse you. And we'll do this one, I tell you. Well, I was going to do it. Let's see what I can do this. Oh, look at that. Make this a negative 2. Y'all are impressed, aren't you? I learned that in training. Oops. Yeah, I supplement 2. Negative 2 here. All right, so negative 2 in the red. Negative 2 does not what? Doesn't exist. So you can say it does not exist. Negative 2 in the blue is what? Negative 3. So, what's negative 3 minus nothing? Negative 3, so it should be negative 3. Check in your book. Do they have that it does not exist?
No.
It says on the phone, it's on the chart. Okay. Oh, wait. All right, there it is. Well, they say it's undefined because of this right here. In other words, you can't go any further because this is undefined. Okay? All right, what about f times g of 1? Well, you erase this, and you put a, excuse me, it's blown up. That's why this thing is so big. I blew it up for those people that sit back in the room. So 1 and 1. 1 is red, and 1 is blue. All right, so let's go back to 1. 1 is red. 1 gives you what? Y is 1. And the blue, 1 is what? 3. Now what do you do with this one? F time. What's 3 times 1? 3. So your answer should be 3. Wherever they have it on this, I don't know where they have it. That's how you do F times G of 1. All right, let's do 0. Is that what they got for that one? Look under A and look under the here and see if they got 3. They should get 3. 3 times 1 is 3. I can't tell how they got this thing to do.
Well, that's what the chart is not matching up.
Well, this is a separate problem. See, I'm still doing this for these 4 things right here. This is something else with these 4 things. This is another question. I'm still on this. All right, so look down here. It should have an A. It should have like 4 examples right in here. And this one should be 3. Somebody check it for me.
Yep.
Okay. Now let's change this. Now what are we going to plug in? That last one, what are we going to plug in? 0. So you're going to have a red 0, and you're going to have a blue 0. And the red 0 gives you 0. What does the blue 0 give you? 1. And they say F, what's F? 1 divided by 0. What's anything divided by 0? What?
Undefined.
So that fourth one should be undefined. Check and see. Now, B says that, I'm taking a minute to figure out what B means. Okay, I think I understand B. What does this mean right here? F plus G. So here's F, and here's G, and we're going to plug in what? 4. So what's 9 plus 2? 11. So the answer would be 11. Negative 2, again, it's undefined right here. So you could argue that the answer is negative 3, or you could argue that it's undefined. But they probably say it's undefined for B. For that negative 2 for B is undefined. Mr. Harvell, what does it say? You should have a B section down here somewhere. 1. What's 3 times 1? 3. And this one, F divided by G of 0. F 1 divided by 0 is undefined.
Yes.
Okay, now right here is the algebraic. Okay, so here we go. F of x is 2x plus 1. G of x is equal to the square root of x. What does that one say? F plus G, 2x plus 1 plus the square root of x. And what are we going to plug in? 4. 2 times 4 plus 1 plus the square root of 4. 2 times 4 is what? 8 plus 1? 9 plus 2 is? That's how you do it algebraically. Does that make sense to everybody? So there's 3 different ways. 1, graphically. 2, with a chart, which you hardly ever see. And then 3, algebraic. Okay?
I didn't realize it was trying to show us various ways.
Yeah, it's a confusing question. It's a confusing format that they're showing, but I'm not going to tell. I'll test you on this. I'll test you on A and C. So make sure you know how to do both of those. And I've already done it. Remember when we plugged and chugged? We plugged in a 4, we plugged in a 3. We've done this. Capisce? Comprende? Comprendo or comprende? I'll forget it. Y'all not going to talk to me. No, something like that. All right, let me fix the blow up so y'all can see. Let's see. That's why I don't like to blow the screen up, because the next thing I show, I can't see. Can't see it on there. It's blowed up. That's why I don't like to do that. All right, so. Oh, that's 2.6? Yeah, we covered all that. Composition of functions, we covered that. And you should be able to compose a function. And then that's the end of chapter 2 pretty much. Yep. Well, I think after that you move into chapter 3. As soon as I can find it. Yep. Moves into chapter 3. There's a little cheat sheet back here in the yellow that you might want to go over before the test, or have during the test, whichever one you want to do. And then it moves into chapter 3. There's a little review test back there that you can do. Yeah, and then there's a test. Golly, they give you enough to pass. Give you all this stuff. Complex numbers. I told you 3.1 was complex numbers. We already covered it. I do want to cover a couple of things here, and I'll show you what I want to cover. I want to make sure you understand what I is, and operations with I. So I'm not going to do the book here. I'm just going to go to a white screen, and we're going to go through it on the white screen. Hold on. Here we go. All right. There's 2 or 3 things you need to remember about I. Here they are. I is equal to the square root of what? -1. And I squared is equal to -1. Now that is super, super, super important. You need to remember that. You need to memorize that. Okay? So if I give you the square root of -25, you can't say it cannot be done, because now, since I told you that, and since you've been in chapter 3 material, you know that I can break that up into what? The square root of -1 times the square root of what? And now that's 5i. Not I5, 5i. Change it there. That's the way you write it, okay? Now that's just one operation you can do with I. If you get this, the reason we have I is for housekeeping. It's a whole lot better to deal with I than the square root of -1. What I mean? Well, if I give you I plus 3 plus I minus 4, then you say, okay, there's a positive 1 there, distribute the 1, and I get I plus 3 plus I minus 4. And what can I do? Combine what? 2I minus what? It's a whole lot neater to deal with I than it is to deal with the square root of -1. That's the only reason we have I. And it is used in electronics, but they call it J. No, they call it I, and then they call it, when they go into electronics, and they call it math, they call it J. I and J. Which J in Calc 3 is the 3rd unit vector, which we'll talk about that. But anyway, that's, so you treat I just like X, don't you? Except when you get an I squared, you have to change it to what? -1. So that's addition. I plus 3 minus I minus 7. I plus 3 negative I plus 7. What's I minus I? And what's 3 plus 7? You treat it just like you do X. Now, it gets kind of hairy when you do the multiplication and division, because you have to do what with the exponents? You have to add or subtract the exponents, and that's when you get I squared. So, they know FOIL, I plus 3 times I minus 4. F, outer, inner, last. And what do you do with the 2 middle terms? Combine them. Plus I minus 12. And what's I squared? What? Thank you. Minus I. Okay, what's I squared? -1 minus I minus 12. And what's minus 12 minus 1? -13 minus I. So see, that I squared changes the whole problem. And that's what gets students on a test, is that last step. The last 2 or 3 steps. What's this one? I'm not meaning for you to do it, I'm meaning for you to tell me what it is. Shortcut number 1, Hubert. That's right, class. Good job. You all don't suck. Y'all all answered the question correctly. Shortcut number what? Number 1. So that's going to give you I squared plus 6i plus 9. I squared plus 6i plus 9. Negative 1 plus 9 is what? And if you don't do that last step right there, guess what? The whole problem is wrong. Well, Hubert, you covered addition, subtraction, multiplication. What about division? Division is where we get into a radical in the what? Denominator. And that's where you get in to some calculus stuff that you got to remember in calculus. And that is rationalizing the what? Rationalizing the denominator. We touched on this a little bit. Rationalizing denominator. I don't know if I spelled that. Don't look right. Denominator. If I give you 4x over the square root of 7, okay, this right here, we're going to take a highlighter, and we're going to highlight this radical here because that's a no-no. Why is it a no-no? Because you don't want a radical in the what? So we're going to take it to multiply by the square root of 7 over the square root of 7. And that's going to give us x times the square root of 7 over the square root of 49, which is equal to x square root of 7 over what? Now this step in here is really not needed. The only reason I put it in there is to show you that we're trying to get rid of the radical, so we multiply it by itself so we can get that square root of perfect square. Now what did I give you this one? Are you thinking in terms of perfect squares? Nope. You got to think of in perfect what? Cubes. So you got to think of those cube roots. Cube root of 1 is 1. Cube root of 8 is 2. Cube root of 27 is 3. Cube root of, what's the next one? 64 is 4. Cube root of 125 is 5. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by the cube root of 4. What? Oh, let's do it, Hubert. Well, what's the first cube root? A multiple of 2. The cube root of what? 8, Hubert. That's right, class. And what is the cube root of 8? And that usually bogs down a couple of people because they don't think in terms of cubes. I guarantee you somebody was thinking of 16. Nope. Probably. This is all in 3.1. Don't worry, I'm going to Wednesday, or what's today? Thursday will be reviewed. So if you got any questions on homework, send them in. If you got any questions, please send them in so I don't have to go looking for them. No. You ain't going to see a test until you see me put it up on the board. Okay? So we're still in homework mode on chapter 2 and 3. All right, let's try nerd. Let's try x over the cube root of 3. Hang on a second, I think I lost somebody. The damn Russians. Done hacked into my Skype. Kicked Mr. Fox out. Mr. Fox, are you there? Yeah, he texted me saying he wasn't there. Did he come in? I don't see him. Did he not come in? He might have gave up on me. There he is. Mr. Fox, you with us? Hello, Mr. Fox. Send me a message, Mr. Fox. You there, Mr. Fox? Okay, he's in. Okay. Now, on this one, what are you going to do? You're going to multiply by the cube root of what? 9. Good. Cube root of 9. I don't know what that was. Cube root of 9 over the cube root of 9. I always get somebody saying, cube root of 9 is 2. No, it's not. You're not thinking in terms of cubes. You're thinking in terms of squares. Be quiet. Cube root of 9 over the cube root of 27. And the cube root of 27 is what? 3. Now that's if you have a number on the bottom. What if you have a conjugate? Or what if you have a two-term expression? Then you quit, right? Just go to the next problem, throw your pencil down. 3 over x minus the square root of 2. Well, when dealing with radicals in the denominator, there's a thing called, I hope I spelled this right, the conjugate. Check to make sure I spelled it right. Conjugate is the opposite operation. And if you use the conjugate, it will always give you shortcut number 3. So what is the conjugate of x minus the square root of 2? X plus the square root of 2. Let me do this in another color. Here's the conjugates. X plus the square root of 2. X plus the square root of 2. And what will that give us on the bottom? That will give us shortcut number 3, which will give you x quantity squared minus the square root of 2 quantity squared. And the top, you just do whatever, because you don't care about the top. 3 times x plus square root of 2. And that's going to give you 3 x plus square root of 2 over, and what is x squared give you? X squared. And what happens here? What happens with the square and the square root symbol? What happens? They cancel out and you get, so you get rid of what in the denominator? You get rid of that. Now, also used with I, because I is the square root of what? -1. So you're given this one, and I'll let y'all do this one. 4 over I plus 3. Which you could change it to the square root of -1 plus 3 if you wanted to, but it's a radical. So what's the conjugate of I plus 3? Say again? -3. So that would be times I minus 3 over I minus 3. Not t. T is in count 2, dt over dx over dt. Okay, come on, help me out. I want to know how to lock back on the eraser and not change it. Beginning of the class every morning, it's eraser. By the end of the day, it's all kind of different colors. All right, now when you do this, the top you get whatever. But what do you get on the bottom? Shortcut number what? Shortcut number 3, Hubert. That's right, class. I quantity squared minus 3 quantity squared. So that's going to give us 4 times I minus 3. And what's on the bottom? -1 minus 9, which is -10, and you can reduce that to 2 times I minus 3 over what? 5. Now, out of all of chapter 3, this is the only thing that I haven't covered, is the conjugate. And I think I covered it a little bit way back, but now what I'm going to do right now is look at chapter 3 and see what is in store for Thursday if I need to cover any more stuff. So I'm just going to pull out the handy dandy. There we go. Chapter 3. Complex numbers. Quadratic functions and graphs. We've covered that. Quadratic equations. We've covered quadratic equations. Higher degree polynomials. Covered a little bit, but that ain't going to be on the test. Might go over some homework problems. Chapter 3 review exercises. Just to let you see what it looks like. This is the review exercises. I think I got 5 minutes. Ain't y'all at 12:35? I know, 5 minutes. Yeah. Determine analytically the y-intercept of the graph of p. I don't know what p. Oh, here it is. 2x squared. And see, this is what's great about this. You see this problem, it says, consider the function 2x squared, blah, 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 blah. And then it asks you all of this stuff. What do I tell you to do with 2x squared minus 6x minus 8? What do I tell you to do whenever we, do it all. And then go see what it asks for. All right, so what are you going to do with 2x squared minus 6x minus 8 if you're doing this problem on the test or homework? You're going to take your piece of paper and you're going to do complete the square with 2x squared minus 6x minus 8. You're going to find the vertex. You're going to find the x-intercept. You're going to graph it. You're going to find the domain range. You're going to find the increase and decrease in values and the line of symmetry. You're going to do all that on the notebook paper. Then you're going to go back and look and see what it asks for. And I guarantee you most of the time it's going to ask for those things I told you to get. Let's see what it asks for. Determine the coordinates of the what? What is the domain? What else does it ask? What is the hidden behavior? Well, I told you there's two types of hidden behavior. What are the two types? What are the two types? Okay, I can't. The two types are, looks like a parabola and looks like what? X cubed. Can't write it right now, but hold on, here we go. The two types of hidden behavior are this type, which looks like a parabola, or what? This type, which looks like a what? X to the even power looks like what? Looks like a U. Right? And x to the odd power looks like what? Yep. And the hidden behavior is what they're asking for. There you're going to see something that looks like this in your book. You're going to see that, and then you're going to see this. That's called hidden behavior. What does it look like? So what does this function look like that we just did the complete the square on? What does it look like? It's going to look like this. That's all hidden behavior is. Let's go back to the question. Determine the what? Determine what? What is the range? All of that is what we've been doing for the last what? 2 weeks? Okay? The figure below is the graph of the quadratic function. What is the maximum value of f of x? What is the maximum value of y? 4, Hubert. For what value of x is the maximum? 1. How many real solutions are there? There's going to be 2 because it's going to cross the x-axis how many times? 2 times. And where is f of x? Where is y equal to 6? Y equal to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is up here. Where's the function equal to 6? Never. Because that would be up here, and the function is down here. Okay?
Well, there's stuff in these other chapters through. To do things like.
I hadn't taken the roll yet. Y'all settle down. I think I know who's here, but just want to make sure. Let me shut down the dojigger.